What's up, guys? This is Know Your Worth TV. I'm your host, Efrain Lozada Jr. I'm excited for you guys that are watching us and coming back for episode 2. Today, we have someone special. I met this lady years ago when I was a manager at Subway. I enjoyed the story from concrete to cupcakes. She also turned it into a book. And I thought, who better to share her story? Someone that retired and was still able to chase her dreams. And I think that's really what's important. We want to make sure that we empower others to never give up on chasing that dream. So here we have Mrs. Jackie Wilson from EatMyTreat. How you doing, Miss Jackie?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on today. I truly appreciate it.
Of course. Listen, you keep saying that it's an honor. Listen, it's an honor to have you here and for you to say yes and be able to kind of tell your story. Not everyone's open to tell their success stories and their failures, and you were one to say, hey, I'm for it. So it's an honor to have you on here.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, guys, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure that you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you guys are able to be updated every time we do go live with a new episode. We're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Make sure that you guys like the video. If you're on Facebook, make sure that you share with your friends. Jackie has a beautiful story, and I just want everyone to be able to kind of hear it, and get inspired by it. As we get started, Jackie, kind of introduce who you are. I kind of gave you a little bit, out there, but who is Jackie Wilson?
Hi, my name is Jackie Wilson. I'm the proud owner of EatMyTreat food truck here in Orlando, Florida. I'm 62 years old. 62 years old. And I have 2 children and 9 grandkids. I bought my food truck in 2014. But I've been baking over 20 years. I'm a co-author of Girl Get Up and Move. And then I wrote my own book, From Concrete to Cupcake. And I have a children's book too that we could talk about later. It's called In My Nana's Kitchen. And it's about a story about me and one of my grandchildren. And it's a short story telling about an adventure. It has, recipes in it too. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. So it's funny you stumbled across when it was time to give the age. They say as you get older, you start to forget your age. I forgot my age too. I'm 31 years old, and I still think I'm 25 at times.
I'm like, how old am I
again? But no, man. The reason I enjoyed your story was because you did retire doing concrete, right? So obviously, It's a woman doing concrete. You don't hear that often.
Right.
Let's start there. What got you into doing concrete to begin with?
So I was working for General Motors. I got hired in 1977 and I retired in 2009. So it was like 32 and a half years. First I worked in the factory, got laid off. They called me back. So I decided to try out for skilled trades. And in the skilled trades, I got hired in as the first millwright, which does concrete, welding, fixing and inspecting cranes, those PH cranes, drilling, doing floor steel, you name it, driving the pettibones, carry decks, you name any heavy equipment, I did it. Any heavy stuff, I drove it. So it took a toll on me for a while because back in the day, about in the 77, guys were really opened up to having women into skilled trades. So I had a lot of ups and downs, and some of them welcomed me in and some of them didn't. They had to see my work ethic first to really become comfortable working with me. But that's what I did for 32 and a half years.
You were, how many years? How many years did you do concrete?
I was at General Motors for 32 and a half years. But in between that, I was still baking. I was baking and doing stuff for friends, church members.
So bacon has always been a passion of yours. You just didn't realize that you would chase this dream, or was it always a dream? And then you realized once you retired that I'm going to chase that dream.
So I kind of did both of them while I was working, raising kids. It started way back when I had an easy bake oven. I fell in love with
I
baking.
remember those. I do.
And then one of my niece had bought this cake and she told me what she paid for it. And I'm like, oh my God. I was just astonished because it wasn't really, it looked like she had baked it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to do this and, perfect it. And that's what really started me. So over the years, I made chocolate Easter baskets. So I love chocolate too. I love making chocolate. And then I just started doing cakes and cupcakes, and it just led to one thing after another.
I do kind of want to get back onto the story when you were at General Motors. What are some of the struggles that you experienced during that time? I mean, times are completely different, right? You might see a lot of women actually doing that job now, but what are some of the things that you had to overcome at that time?
Okay, well, you don't want to do the race card thing, but it was me being a female and me being, I believe, Black. And the men back then thought I was taking another man's job, so they didn't appreciate me being in that trade. They would tell me I need to go home and take care of my kids, or they would try to scare me, like taking me up in the lift all the way to the top of the building and coming straight down. They put me on a caterpillar. Instead of training me, they swirled me all the way around. There was days that the men wouldn't work with me and the foreman wouldn't enforce it. So as an apprentice, you have to work with a skilled tradesman because they're supposed to train you. So I feel too, I didn't get the proper training in some of the stuff because I was a female. But then after they seen, like I said, after they seen my work ethics and seen that I wasn't going anywhere, most of them started softening up and was willing to help me more. So yeah, there was it was a struggle.
There's a
It was
lot.
a
Yeah,
struggle.
no. And that's what really caught my attention when you said that, is that you were in all male industry. And I know times are completely different from
Right.
the time when you were working there, maybe the time that it is now. But I'm just happy that you kind of pushed through. You didn't let no one else, and you've been that person since I've known you years ago. Is
It was
to
many
just never
times I
give up.
wanted to give up, but one of my
Listen,
sisters would always
that's
push
key right
me.
there. Never giving up. Never giving up when someone thinks that you shouldn't be somewhere. Today's message that I put out on Instagram was to follow your heart, right? And your heart was to do
Yes.
that, and you just never gave up on it. You continued. You chased that dream of being a concrete worker because that's what you wanted to do. No one else was going to tell you any different. No man, no woman, no color, no nothing. So congrats on it. Congrats on
Thank
being able
you.
to do that for so many years under such pressure and circumstances.
Thank you.
So kind of, let's go, now we're moving forward. You finished the concrete, you've working, you're using the easy bake ovens, you're realizing that there is a passion.
Yes.
So once you retired, did you automatically go into that, the bakery, or did you kind of take some time, enjoy retirement, and then get into it?
I really didn't. No, I didn't enjoy, I didn't take time off. No, I just kind of, because for me, working and doing a time clock, working for somebody, that transition is really different after you've been in the system for so long. For me, mentally, I wasn't ready to just be on my own. I didn't have that confidence in myself. So I stayed, I picked up little jobs here and there. And so I never fully gave up to follow my dream. I always followed somebody else's dream. It wasn't until probably now, the pandemic, that I realized that if I don't do this thing now full force, it might not happen to see to leave a legacy for my kids and my grandkids. Was that good? I think I lost you.
Am I back?
Hey, you
Can you see me?
back.
Oh, okay. That was my fault. I forgot
I
to put
can see
myself
you
back on
now.
camera. All right, cool. That's my fault.
I was like,
But no, what I was mentioning is that some people that do have a 9-to-5 job get discouraged. You know, they want to be an entrepreneur and they have a 9-to-5 job, and they're like, "What do I do? I have a family to feed." What is your advice to them? I mean, you've worked now both. You've been an entrepreneur. You've worked a 9-to-5 for so many years. What is your any advice that you can give someone either, growing up that may be starting a job,
Mhm.
right? 18, kind of getting out of high school, or someone even your age that may want to fulfill a dream that they've always thought of?
Well, for me, I would tell them to go for it. But before they do that, I thought I understood the food truck industry and entrepreneurship. I suggested they get a coach, that they save up money and don't give up their 9 to 5 until they really are sure that that's what they want to do. Be willing to put in the work because it is going to be work. When I worked at Universal part time, I would stay after I got home. I would prep stuff up, so I might not get to bed until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and had to be at Universal maybe at 8 o'clock. So you have to prepare your mind, that your mindset that this is really what I want to do, and just go for it. I mean, go
A
for
lot
it.
of sacrificing, when you say, right?
Go for it.
Listen, there's
Yeah.
a lot of sacrificing in entrepreneurship. So you guys that do want to become an entrepreneur and chase that dream, I'm with Jackie on it. One of the mistakes that I would say that I made, and I wouldn't really say mistakes, right? Because you learn from every single
Yes.
lesson. That to me is like, take the L. L doesn't really mean there was a loss. There was a lesson
Right.
there.
Right.
And when I left Subway, I was kind of in a situation where I spent so many years there. I was opening up different stores. I knew what I was capable of doing. I had just closed my first cafe. And it was because I didn't go 100% into the cafe. I was still half in, half out. I was still working 50 hours a week
Right.
at Subway. And then I would leave there and I would, like you said, I would work Subway, or not Subway, my cafe from like 5 to 1 in the morning, get back the next day at 7. So there was a lot of sacrificing in there as well.
It is.
But do you regret the process?
I don't regret the process. I regret that sometime I didn't really, when I got the coach, I didn't really do all the work they told me to do. So I'm a person that needs to be in the classroom sometime. That's my mindset. I need to see it, talk to them one-on-one or whatever. But you got to push through all that because it is just your mindset. It's just something else that's holding you back. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, of course.
I would get a coach. Make sure you write down, you have to write down what you want. You have to plan it out, every day. It might not go that way, but you need to have some kind of journal or a to-do list or a list of, this is what I'm going to get done. This is what I have to do.
Yep.
So that you can have some kind of structure, so that you can always
Structure.
tweak it along the way.
Would you say that was kind of the difficult part? Because me being an entrepreneur, I kind of find that a little tough at times. You have a 9-to-5 job, you're going to get in this time and get out at this time. But when you're your own boss, now you have to set your own schedule, and it is difficult at times because you start wandering off when you know that you have to do things. Do you experience that at times?
Of course. Sometimes I just want to lay down and not do anything. And for me, I didn't have a team really, so I was the team. Yeah. So I had to, post stuff, prep stuff, cook stuff, bake stuff, frosting it. I was the team. I had to package it, label it. So, and then go to work, and then maybe I had a cake to do. And I'm not talking about just a little cake. I'm talking about maybe a four-tier cake plus go on an event. So, it was an overload for me.
Okay, so getting into the food truck, and I feel that you kind of got into the food truck when I feel everything, like food trucks were everything. I was seeing so many food trucks events.
Yes.
Obviously, what are some of the challenges that you experienced that did not know getting into the food truck industry that you learned and had to kind of adapt to?
Oh my God, a lot of stuff. I had wanted a food truck back in Michigan. I'm from Michigan, living in Florida now. So the food truck I really wanted, and I had got approved for it, I was scared to get it
Okay.
because I really didn't know nothing about food truck. And that was the ideal food truck to have down here. But coming here, I would take one of my granddaughters, she's 13 now, but I would take her along with me and we would go taste people's different cakes and cupcakes and go to different things. So what I didn't know about the food truck as far as, maintenance, um, the mechanic part of it, my first event, all the lights went out, everything, the generator and everything. And I'm like, OMG, what do I do? So it was me and this young lady on the truck, and we're just starting to open up for the event. So I had to run to Sears. I bought like 5 different portable battery lights to just continue serving the people. So, after a while, the generator came back on, but that was like, oh my God, what do I do? Who do I turn to? Because I didn't know anybody in the food truck, I'll say, tribe yet. So, do your research, and even when you do your research, do more research because there's always something else to learn, and have
I
your own
agree.
private mechanic.
And that's why I do want to mention something, because those things that you do encounter and those things that you do learn, people don't realize why you charge what you charge, because
Right.
you have knowledge. You now had to go through these experiences, and that's why we charge what we charge. There's trials and
Yes.
tribulations that we got to go through. There's overhead costs. There's living costs. So
Yes.
people that always want a discount, please do realize we got to go through things. Like, we're teaching ourselves. Like you said, I didn't start with no one told me anything about starting a restaurant. No one.
Right.
I just happened to be in the business and thought that I'll be able to do it. And I did. I think
you did a great job. Your food was awesome.
I think, yeah, it's a lot of times it's not even just the food. It could be location. It could be so many different things out of your control, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, we learned, we lived, we executed differently the next time that we had the opportunity. And you've done exactly that, because you're telling me all the struggles, but then you have some phenomenal outcomes, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about this book. How did you get in? Is the book always been something you wanted to do? Because I wasn't aware of the book, but I was so excited to know that you dropped this book, From Concrete to Cupcakes. That was the first book. Was that correct?
Yes. Well, the first book was Liaison in My Nana's Kitchen.
Okay.
But it didn't come out the way I wanted it, so I put it back on the shelf. So then From Concrete to Cupcake, I was in a coaching program, and she was like, every one of you have a story in you. So I started writing that story, but some of the stuff I put in it, I just wasn't ready to share it. So I just put that on the shelf too. I just procrastinated. And then finally, I had it all handwritten out, but I just wanted to share my story because sometimes we go through a whole lot in life. Life can be unfair to you. Things can happen. Disappointments can happen. Tragedy can happen. But you should never take your eye off of your dream and your hope, or what do you want to accomplish in life. So this story, to me, it relieved me of some of my self-confidence I didn't have, some of the uncertainties I had. So, and I wanted to help women that went through different stuff in their life. Maybe they went through a divorce, maybe they went through a loss of their husband, I don't know, or maybe they in a 9-to-5 job and they really not happy about it, and they always have this dream. I always wanted to own some kind of business. People encouraged me to bake because they said my treats were good, so I'm like, okay, I'll go for it. But the best thing that I enjoy is, no matter what you're going through life, you probably have $3.50 to buy a cupcake, to enjoy it, to give yourself some self-care, some self-love. So my book kind of tells people that no matter what you go through, just keep pushing through. Because you're at the end, God is going to help you through whatever difficulties you're in. So that's why I wrote the book.
I love it. Listen, you're inspiring. Ever since I met you, you're inspiring to know at the age that you retired and started to taste the dream. That's the reason I wanted you on here. That know your worth moment. You just never given up on yourself through hard
No.
times. You know what I mean? Through hard times, you haven't given up on yourself, and you kind of showed all the doubters that thought you wouldn't do, General Motors for so many years, or you wouldn't be able to do the food truck. And I can only imagine, have you ever experienced, I mean, we spoke about the General Motors about it, but have anyone told you that the food truck wasn't for you, or you're crazy, or because I feel that some people are held back because of that. Have you ever experienced any of that?
Well, I had an experience because people don't understand when you get in the food truck business, sometimes you have to go be interviewed to be in certain groups, because there are certain groups that you can get into. So my first experience, I had to go interview with this company to get in their food truck tribe, I'll say. And we got it on. We got along pretty good. For a couple of years we did, and then finally he emailed me because in the thing he said he can let you go anytime he wants to without even any explanation. Okay. So he emailed me and he told me that every time he comes up to my window, that my cupcakes look like they're melting and they don't look appealing. So he said I couldn't be in his group anymore. That was so hurting because I put pride into what I did. If something doesn't taste right, if a cake don't look right, people don't know. I'll throw that cake away and start all over again. So that hurt my feeling, and I think that almost took me out, because I was like, you couldn't even come tell me to my face or give me a second chance, or he just sent me that email and told me you no longer in my group. So yes. And it's kind of you just have to watch your back on some of it, and you got to be careful what you say to different people, because you don't know who's connected with who when you start now.
Oh, listen, you're right. Who would have known that I haven't worked Subway in years. But here we are, still kind of keep communication, like
right.
you said, I don't want people to think that be careful who you speak to on just the negative end.
Right.
Be careful who you speak to, because they can also help you and lead you to the direction that you need to be into.
That's true. Because he gave me an opportunity. I mean, if he wouldn't have opened that door for me, I wouldn't have never had the opportunity, because you have to literally
the experience. You took
sell yourself. You have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
You have to prove it. I mean, it was just like a job interview. I had to show him the packaging. I had to take cupcakes to him. They had to taste them. I was like,
that's crazy. I didn't know. You just taught me a whole new thing about the food truck industry. You look at food trucks, and I'm guessing for events. I'm guessing is that what it is? He had monthly events.
Yeah, it was events. Yeah.
That's tough. So in reality, if they don't want you there, then that's it. You better go find you somewhere to go.
I remember one event I was in. Let me not say where I was at, but I was at a place, and I had made maybe 300 cupcakes, and I sold out like that. Wow. And the people, prestigious people came to the truck. They like, well, when you over here, you don't supposed to run out. So I had to make extras when I went to that area, because I'm like, I can't run out until they come.
That's crazy. Now, listen, I get it. We do the best that we can, like you said, with no kind of experience. But I'm not one to really push on. I mean, you said a coach. Would you say the coach has helped you, and do you look at that coach as like a mentor?
I look at the coach as a mentor. Yeah, she helped me extremely. My coach did. It was just me not being able to process everything, because, I mean, I was just bogged down with a whole bunch of other stuff, and then to do the coaching, and you got stuff to do in coaching. You got assignments to do, you got stuff to do, but it's all worth it. You have to have somebody to be accountable to, because they have resources that you might not know, and they can help you and direct you in the right direction. So I suggest a coach or accountability person, or or just have a an associate with you that can help you so that y'all can hash out things together. Sometimes I felt I was doing this all by myself, but I'm one that kind of not reach out and ask for help. I try to figure it out all myself. So that's not good neither, because there's people out there that really want you to succeed in whatever you're trying to do. So you have to network, you have to ask for help, and don't just assume they know that you need help, extra help.
So after the food truck, after the first book, is that what inspired you to do another book, or how did that come about?
The Girl Get Up and Move, I'm a co-author in it, and the opportunity came, and I think I have a lesson or an experience that can help a lot of people.
Let's
And
hear
so
it. For sure, let's hear it. What is that experience? You mean in the book or just in general?
Well, back in the day, I won't really get into it, but you have to buy the book now.
There you go.
I went through some challenges, and I did something really stupid because I wanted attention, and it could have cost my life. And it's nothing that I'm not proud of it, because I had small kids. Well, they weren't small, but I had kids, and I didn't think about how it could affect them. I was just being selfish and thinking about me, what I needed at that time, or what I thought I needed. So it kind of tells that. And then it has like an affirmation, and that, like you said, you have to know your self-worth, and you can't depend on nobody else to validate you in anything. You have to love yourself.
That is completely true, because no one knows you better than you. If you guys want to go check out any of the books, if she has 4 books, what are the other 2 books? I think one is a coloring book and one is the kids book. Is that correct?
So this one is Liasia in My Nana's Kitchen, and this has a short story for kids, and like it has recipes in there, and it just has a little short story, and it has recipes in here. It has journal pages for your kids, so. And then because of that, I thought that I should make the coloring book, because the pages in it are so beautiful. And then in every page, it's a confirmation for them to read, like, I am courageous. So the coloring book is pretty neat too. So all of this is on my website, but this is the from concrete
What
to cupcakes.
What inspired
and then
you?
The other one is
to do the
Girl
kids
Get
book?
Up and Move. Huh?
What inspired you to do the kids book?
My granddaughter, because she always, when she was in her Pampers, and they lived,
Okay.
my daughter and her lived with me, and she would hear me get up in the morning, and she would knock on the door like, Nana, it's Liasia. She couldn't get out because you got those child locks on the door handle, so she couldn't get out. And so she would come up there, and she would just sit, and I would let her eat the frosting or whatever. And then as she got older, like I said, me and her would go to all different like Ann Arbor, Michigan. We would go and try out their cupcakes, and we would take pictures of it. And so she was like my little road dog, and it was just fun that she was so interested in sharing the experience with me at such a young age. And I miss that. She's 13 now, but yeah,
Hey,
so that's what inspired me to write that.
She's still your grandbaby.
Liaison.
I said she's still your grandbaby.
Right. So she is, but she has her own lip gloss business now. So
is that because you inspired her to become an entrepreneur?
I'm not for sure. She never said, but
that's a good question.
She started it during the pandemic all by herself, no help or nothing. She researched
Hey,
it
is
and
there
it's
any other
all vegan.
entrepreneurs in the family?
Huh?
Is there any other entrepreneurs in the family?
Is it? You know what? It probably, yeah, my niece and her fiance got a car detail business in Michigan. So it's a
Hey,
few. And before, and I'm not bragging, but before Starbucks was even Starbucks, my nephew and one of his friends in Battle Creek back in the day started a coffee cafe thing, but nobody really came because they wasn't popular back then. But they were in high school
that's
when they
amazing.
started. Huh?
Listen, I said that's amazing.
It was. I would go, and they would have like a jazz area where they play the music and stuff, but it just wasn't popular back then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they closed it
coffee's
down.
so much popular now. This Starbucks,
I
I can't stand
know.
it.
I was like, what? It
Um,
was interesting.
so as we kind of get close to wrapping up, obviously the question that I ask anyone before we end is, what was that know your worth moment that made you feel like this is it, this is what I should be doing, this is what I'm going to be doing? What was that moment for you?
Wow. Like I said, I baked off and on for family stuff and things. But when I got my food truck and I sold out for the first time and made $800 in one night just off of cupcakes, I was like,
This is it. This is
wow,
it.
wow. They really, because didn't nobody know me. I came
Mhm.
from Michigan, and I had to start my clientele all over again and prove to people because, members from church came, they knew, but
Mhm.
nobody in Orlando. I was a nobody here, and for them to buy all of my cupcakes out before the 3 hours was up, I was just like blown out of the water. I was like, wow. Jackie from little old Battle Creek sold 300 and some cupcakes in one night. That was my aha moment.
I don't know if you want to talk
My
about this,
word.
and you don't have to move forward if you don't. But I remember a story on someone wanted you to give you an opportunity, but they wanted you to rename your food truck. Do you remember that moment?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate? Do you want to elaborate on a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think it was because of the name of the truck.
Uh-huh.
And I think people mind went somewhere else. So they wanted me, and
America
it was a high profile company,
establishment.
and
Yeah.
they wanted me to be in their, in their clique. But in order to be in the clique, I couldn't pass out no menus. I had to cover everything that had my business name on there, and I couldn't tell them my business name. So I was like, well, how are they gonna find me? The no name truck? I don't know. And so then I thought about it. I mean, people would say, you should do it, girl. That's good money. But sometimes your worth, your name is important to you. And because other people's mind went there, that don't mean that I had to go there, because then I would have validated them
Yep.
at what they were thinking. And that's not what I was thinking.
Following your heart, because it could have been that you made the whole name change, and just like previous story where someone just kind of kicked you out, and after you revamped, and it doesn't, wrapping a truck and the name change and the LLCs and all that, like it doesn't just cost a couple of dollars. Like there's money being invested into that, something like that. So definitely you followed your heart. That was that know your worth moment. That's why I wanted you to share it, because I thought it was another know your worth moment where you realize like, this is what I want to do. And you've been able to be so successful even after not taking that, the opportunity.
Right.
So that's been amazing. Listen, Jack, I'm just so excited that you gave me the opportunity to sit down with you. I know you were nervous when we got here, or when we started, before we even went live, but you've done an amazing job. Like, just
thank you. I appreciate you.
Of course. Listen, I
remember our stories. We just hit it off at Subway, because I came to Subway every week.
Yes, I remember. Listen, and that's what I told you when we got on. It's just like a Subway conversation we used to have back in the days. It's just people watching.
Yeah, and you always encourage me, and I love that about you. And I
Listen,
always appreciate your friendship. I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. I appreciate it. Listen, you're encouraging as well. There's people out there your age, younger or older, that now get to witness that it's never too late to chase your dreams. It's
Right,
never too late to know your worth. And no matter
right.
what you're experiencing, and if you're dealing with something that may not be for you at that time, don't give up. If that's what you want to do, your heart says this is what I want to do. Continue to do so, and allow no one to tell you any different. Um,
Oh, I
all day,
appreciate
listen,
you.
I'm just happy. I've kind of got to. It's not that we talk all the time because we don't, but I've been seeing you through social media. I've seen all the progress that you've made from the food truck to the books. So those are amazing things.
Well, thank you.
Before we get to disconnect and part our own ways, is there anything else that you want someone to know that may be either working 9 to 5 and wanting to be an entrepreneur, or wanting to be an entrepreneur but it has a fear to take the risk?
Yeah, what I would tell them to do first, put God first.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask God questions. Seek Him because He knows exactly what He wants you to do. Then write it down, journalize it. I mean, there's all kind of journals out there for you to buy and get, but get some paper and pen and write down what you really want to do, and then go for it. Execute it. Make a plan, execute it. Find out what all you got to do and go for it, because this life, yeah, I know we say it's short, but this life, you're not guaranteed the next day, the next minute, the next moment. And if you don't try, you probably never will try. So I encourage you to go out and do you. And then if it's not you, it's okay to change. It's okay. It's okay to change your course and do something different.
Of
Thank
course.
you
And yeah, of
so
course,
much.
anytime. What could they follow you if they wanted to maybe get some cupcakes, to find where your food truck may be located? If they wanted to buy any books, where could they find you?
Right now I'm revamping my food truck, but they can always connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. My number and stuff is always there at EatMyTreat, or my number is, I have a Michigan number still, or a Florida number. It's 407-494-9785. And then the other number for Michigan, or it still works here too, 517-410-5596. You can always call me, text me, inbox me. I might not get back to you right away, but I will get back to you.
Well, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
No, it's an
Hopefully I
honor.
don't take so much of your time today. And if you guys are watching, make sure that you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, Know Your Worth TV. Click the links in the bio. If you're on Instagram, you can always look at Facebook, Know Your Worth TV. And it's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week, Tuesday.
Thank you.
6:30 p.m.
Bye-bye.